tens of billions of dollars of grant opportunities for all the local governments and TxDOT and anyone else that's eligible. We thought it's worth your while to have a discussion about forming an ad hoc committee, which according to your bylaws you can have any ad hoc committee you'd like. We're suggesting that you give us direction today to provide you next month with some of the details of who could be on this ad hoc committee to coordinate all these future grants. Now, if you remember, the new federal law has about 5 years of funding. Some of the local governments have applied for some grants like the RAISE grant or the No and Low grant that the RTA applied for. And we think there's going to be other opportunities for you all to apply for additional dollars. One of the things that we think is really important is to be as competitive as possible with these grants. And so we know that you all look at other grant things, and in the memo you can see that outside of the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, the Texas Coastal Resiliency Plan, they're going to put out millions of dollars that all of you can apply for through their process. As well as the Coastal Bend COG, they have another $180 million on their grant program. And I think up in San Patricio County last Monday, they all formed a committee to look at project submittals for their allocation of 20 or 25 million.
25 million.
A lot of money. So
right.
I think people want to make sure what you're submitting has got the best chance to go get built. And so in the case of the federal money, we don't get an allocation. You're in a national competition for things as we showed in the example of the RAISE grant, right? So locally, we had 2 RAISE grants go into the same year, same process. And so in your packet, you can see that the port had a RAISE grant for one of their dock projects, and City of Corpus Christi had a RAISE grant for their Yorktown project. And so as you can see on some of these attachments, the first one we put in your packet, and it's online too for those that want to take a look at it. There's so many different categories, and I'm not going to attempt to go through the categories. I know your staff, and we go look at them. But we remind everybody that there's literally tens of billions of dollars available. So we provided the list of what those grants are. We also gave you another version of that, of the types of grants that the federal government is looking for. And as you know, they're putting money out already. And so they announced most recently the 2022 RAISE grants. So I think you can all see this on your screens. So I'm just looking for a head nod. You can see the map of the U.S.?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As you can see in the RAISE grants, most states only get maybe 3 or 4. Texas got like 5 nationally. And so in these grant processes and your MPO staff, we've done this a long time.
Hey, Mike Gillespie here in the 3 News Now Digital Live Center. We want to let you know what you're looking at here. It is a meeting happening at City Hall in council chambers of the Metropolitan Planning Organization of Corpus Christi. And the reason why we're bringing this to you today is because one of the items on their agenda, one of the things they are expected to hear, is an update from TxDOT on the New Harbor Bridge project. Now, you remember it was just over 2 weeks ago when TxDOT gave the developer of the New Harbor Bridge project, Flatiron Dragados, a notice of default. In effect, they gave them 15 days in order to address what they called some design flaws, significant design flaws in the New Harbor Bridge. In fact, you'll remember back in the middle of the summer, July 15th, when the work was stopped on the main span of the bridge, and TxDOT said at that point that they had some concerns that had to be addressed. They came back later and said, we're going to give you 15 days to try to address that. One of the things they said is that the design flaws were so serious that they were worried about the fact that under certain loads, the bridge could actually collapse. Now, we've not heard much in the 15 days, but again, as we're looking here at the Metropolitan Planning Organization, we know they're going to get an update today. I also spoke with TxDOT earlier. They're expecting to issue a release following their update for the MPO, and that will tell us more. We, of course, have a camera there, and our reporter Bill Churchwell is there as well, and he'll be covering this for us all through this afternoon. Now, we did reach out again this morning to the developer Flatiron Dragados, but as has been kind of their answer for the last 2 weeks, they are referring all media inquiries to TxDOT. And again, TxDOT about to give the update here, and as soon as they do that, we'll be listening in live and we'll be hearing what they have to say all at the same time. Because honestly, right now, we don't have any more of an idea than you do who are watching this, or you who may be at home or on your mobile devices, as to what it is that they're going to say. They have lots of options here. One option is to say that you didn't address the concerns that we had in the time that we gave you, and so we are moving on, perhaps to a different developer. We don't know that. There could be some kind of extension granted here. We're just not sure at this point, and so we're going to listen in on the meeting and try to get a sense of what they're doing. Right now, they have another item that they're covering here in their agenda, and again, this is their Transportation Policy Committee. They are tied in with TxDOT. They hear regularly from TxDOT, and as a part of that, they'll be getting an update today on the new Harbor Bridge project. So we're going to go back and listen to that and kind of see if we can figure out where they are in the meeting, and we'll break in here again as soon as something significant happens.
We had an informal discussion recently about this very issue, and we just think that we have a tremendous opportunity if we stick together.
Together, that's what we need to do.
And then also, one of the things that we're noticing in some of the specialized grants, I haven't seen the DOTs, but I know like the DOEs, within these grants are tremendous, I would call them almost sub-applications for DEIA, J40, those types of assessment plans that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So by regionalizing this, we can maybe help our partners who are going to apply for other types of grants. So we might have, a Department of Commerce grant,
Yeah.
but if we already have a very strong diversity, equity, inclusion statement, then we can use that. Or you already have a Justice 40 people assessment for your areas, you can use that as a template. So
Right.
I think it's great,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
hope that we'll all just share the information so
Right.
that, again, when we're looking outside DOT, maybe some of the information.
Yep.
I don't know, have you all had that opportunity to
Yeah.
look in yet already to see if there's those types of requirements?
Yeah, we're,
IA?
from the MPO, we're well-versed in the federal transportation grants, but we know the other ones. And all the new requirements, as you say, I mean, the federal grants are trying to be as broad as possible. And so in your packet, you see the Texas winners of a RAISE grant. So when we read it, it's like reading the application, right? They said this phrase, they used this term, and so they did all that. And so for transportation, that's good, but these
Great.
these programs go beyond transportation because they want to bring in equity, they want to bring in health, they want to bring in other things. So we think with the collection of your folks, they can bring that broad spectrum of thinking toward it to make sure you covered all the bases. So it's not just transportation, it's whatever the grant program wants.
And finally, I know this is probably too soon, but maybe not for staff, maybe for the committee, but there's an October, call it mid-October deadline for reconnecting.
Yeah.
Under DOT, would you all be just knowing that this committee's gonna get formed, maybe staff can look at those?
Yep.
I realize that we have 5 years, but I also realize that
Right.
it's the year the bird gets the worm. I really think whoever is most prepared to submit.
Yeah. Opportunities are going to be almost
Okay,
monthly.
opportunities there, so
It's going to
we'll
get
do.
more
Right.
competitive as people start to
All right.
engage. So whoever comes in first, I think wins.
It's it. Right.
Just look at the October numbers. I think that you'll see that there's a couple that are so perfect for our MPO, and I'm reading some of these memos, are even perfect for these memos, about corridors expanding to the housing. I think that maybe, get us started.
That's right. Okay.
Yep, good.
Any other comments?
Yeah, Judge, my only comment on the transportation side, I think it bodes well for the region, for the area, when it's a unified approach, because if we're requesting recommendations from the Texas Department of Transportation,
Right.
it's happening across the state as well. So it looks better if we come to the state as a coastal bend, as a region.
Right. Agreed. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. You wanna vote?
Judge, I just got a text. You might turn your microphone on when you talk.
Oh, okay.
I think it is on.
The first time they said it's not loud.
Okay. But somebody can't hear you.
So much.
Okay.
We'll do the audio test. We'll get it
There
right the
you
next
go.
time. Thank you all so much.
Good. Okay, any other comments? Because I got a motion and a second. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Going into item 5, information items. First of all, 5A, we're going to have the Harbor Bridge update. Mr. McDonald, you want to lead off? You want Valenti to go ahead and take it?
Yeah, I'll just cover what was in your packet, certainly online, and what you have in front of you. What we wanted to do is give you two things, put it a little bit in context. As a policy committee, you've approved a decade worth of items related to the new Harbor Bridge. So we put that as an attachment in your packet just so you can see all the work that you've done or your predecessors have done. So as the MPO policy committee, you're engaged with this project from the beginning. The second attachment we have in there, and it's literally 2 days old, for the Corpus Christi district of TxDOT. The Texas Transportation Commission 2 days ago approved the $85 billion 10-year transportation projects, and in your packet is what we have for the local district. Now, of course, Valente's district is more than the MPO, so we've got about 2 counties and you have 10, and so that's everything in his district. So when you see a freeway widening, well, that's not in the MPO, but it's in the district. So we wanted to put that in context that there's hundreds of millions of dollars over that 10-year plan that are going to be done. And so those are approved. Those are now ready to go forward. And so we just wanted to provide that context, and this item is for TxDOT to take it from here.
Okay.
Mr. Oliveris, yours.
Thank you, Robert. I was going to save the UTP discussion till the end, just as comments, but let me just start with that, just to mention we had a very good commission here in August where the UTP was approved, which allocates construction funding towards our plan, right? Statewide plan, $85 billion of construction funding. And Robert is correct. I think the amount that was allocated to the Corpus Christi district is one of the highest across the state for an urban district. And many of you have supported or been a part of the I-69 alliance groups and trying to get more money towards construction funding and design for I-69. And in this UTP, you'll see that there is a hefty dollar amount on US 77, and specifically Refugio and Woodsboro, which we've done some planning in the past, which we haven't been able to get money for that until this UTP. So I think there's been a very large investment from our commission on I-69 corridor through the Corpus Christi district. So again, thanks to many of you who have supported that, and as your voices have been heard. So I want to make sure I put that in context of what the UTP is. So I'll start with a letter actually on Harbor Bridge that I just passed out in the dais here, and I'll read this letter. This is from our Transportation Commission Chairman Bruce Bugg. So if you remember, we've said in the past, as far as TxDOT, our executive director, and our commission, that any overruns due to the Harbor Bridge, overruns and corrections of errors or delays or whatever it may be, that we were not coming back to the locals for any of those direct costs. So they've heard it from us, but we've also had a request, well, we need to see that in writing, right? So this letter is to our state delegation, and I'm bringing it here to our MPO because we had some funding from our MPO and the locals that are here in front of you today towards the Harbor Bridge project. So let me just read this letter. Dear Senator Hinojosa, Representatives Hunter, Herrero, and Lozano, I write to reiterate and affirm to you and the Corpus Christi community the commitment of Texas Transportation Commission and Texas Department of Transportation to complete the Harbor Bridge project as quickly as possible while ensuring we see it through safely and with the highest quality standards. While the project has undertaken challenges, the Commission is committed to the current multi-party funding agreement and the public statements by TxDOT leadership that no additional direct costs for project changes and delays will be sought or required from our local government partners. As we move forward, we are committed to keep you and the community engaged and informed. Thank you for your leadership and interest in this important project for your community. If you need to contact me, it goes on for contact personnel. So the gist of that, again, confirming and reaffirming, putting in writing about the overruns being borne by the state of Texas. Okay, so I'll move to an update on the Harbor Bridge project, and bear with me because I think you know how dynamic this is daily for us, especially within the 15-day cure period that we've been in. So the last time we spoke, we had just given a notice of default to Flatiron Dragados, the contractor on Harbor Bridge. We told them they had 15 days to cure the non-conforming items that we had for the Harbor Bridge. So in that time frame, which earlier this week, we received multiple correspondence from Flatiron Dragados, and as well as direct conversations with top management or top executives for Flatiron Dragados' parent company, ACS Group. These conversations indicate a new direction from Flatiron Dragados in their position and in their tone of how we are going to address these issues. It seems that they are coming into alignment with TxDOT's demands. Now, I'll say that if you remember, our demands were, resolving the non-conforming items, right? We have non-conforming items on the project, and we need them to, one, have a safe design, safe bridge, and that's accomplished by resolving these non-conforming items. So solutions were provided, proposed solutions were provided to TxDOT this week, and actually we are in a meeting currently. Our bridge division and engineers and independent reviewer are currently in a meeting with Flatiron Dragados and Arab CFC reviewing these solutions that have been proposed. So again, that's pretty dynamic. I expect other meetings to occur after this, but they are currently reviewing those solutions that have been proposed. And the other demand we had, right, was take responsibility of this design and the costs associated with design. So again, every indication as far as communications that have occurred this week lean in that direction. So we're feeling pretty confident that, but we don't have the written confirmation yet. So I don't have that in front of me to share with you today, but again, this very dynamic. We're waiting for that written confirmation from Flatiron Dragados and ACS. This is the first time ACS has really gotten involved with this project. Again, that's the parent company for Flatiron and Dragados. I'd make sure we don't lose sight on this does not resolve the issue, right? We're still in the middle of it as far as the solutions and the responsibility. So what we have right now, we still have our default, our notice of default that's in play. We're not removing that until we've given enough time to look at these issues and actually investigate and see if they resolve what's in play. So because that notice of default is still out there, we, TxDOT in the background, are preparing just in case we do need to give an event of default to have other contracts for design and emergency construction work in place to jump in and complete the work. So again, you've heard it from us in the past. We're committed to finishing the work, either with this contractor, which so far it's looking promising, but absolutely with anybody else to make sure that if we do go through event of default, that it's completed. So That's where we're at today. I don't know, I'll take any
Okay,
questions you may have
We'll
up
take any
here.
questions from the committee here. Any of the media that's here, I mean, after the meeting, if you want to talk to any of the committee members after the meeting, you'll be more than welcome to. But right now, we're just going to concentrate here on the committee members that we have present. So any committee member have any questions of Mr. Oliveros? Okay, go ahead, Judge.
Thank you. So it sounds like we've made some progress, but because of the 15-day expiration, have you been told that there is a new deadline in order to take what looks like they're leading into TxDOT's way of thinking, so that we'll have a new benchmark, if you will, in other words?
Have her turn on her microphone.
It sounds encouraging, but it would be better if we knew that they would have to comply with the written agreement, let's say, in the next 30 days.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'll repeat. I do apologize. My question was, it sounds promising as it seems that about your report that they are leaning in to TxDOT's way of thinking, I think is how I put it. But I also know, given the 15-day expiration, it would be nice to say that there is a time frame that has been set so that conversations can move to written certainty or written confirmation. What do you know about that, or how could you expand upon that? You think there will be a timeline set?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Right, because we want to finish this project timely but safe, right? So the discussions, we feel like the due diligence is required for the options that have been presented to us. However, that doesn't mean we take months and months in this review. It needs to be a short window, and we're giving ourselves a few weeks to make sure that those discussions get to where they need to get to very quickly, and culminating with a formal agreement between both parties, right?
Okay. One last question. One of the opportunities when you get to renegotiate that is positive is that we've had a lot of time to think and reflect upon ways to enhance other concerns that are as simple as wayfinding, let's just say, under the Harbor Bridge currently, particularly as it applies to what I call the North Beach sector, all the way to a potential discussion of access and potential redesign for what amounts to critical mass on areas like that are touristic, like North Beach.
Yes.
Would there be an opportunity to have those discussions as a part of a comprehensive solution?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. That's and Judge and I have talked about that in the past, and I think the mayor and city manager as well. The wayfinding signs, because of the detours that are out there on this project. So we were prepared to take care of that if we had gotten into an event of default with emergency contracts. But if we do not get in event of default, that is part of our discussions moving forward, as well as drainage and roadway detours and everything else that affects the driving community. So it's not just the bridge. I think more comprehensive look at completion of the project.
Okay, well, thank you. Any other committee have any question? You have any?
Dan does.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Turner.
Chairman, if the positivity does not conclude positive, as we're talking about here, do you have an estimated timeline beyond that on bringing on the new designers and contractors?
So first, we'll give this opportunity, as you mentioned.
Yes.
We got to make sure we go through this opportunity, and then you heard last time from us that the surety will be involved. If we need to get our contractor in play, I think what we've discussed is having 3 different contracts. One would be an emergency contract to take care of any items really securing the area, traffic control, signage, pavement, that needs to be taken care of quickly. And then we envision 2 separate contracts, one for roadway interchanges and the main span bridge being separate. So that's currently in play, preparing for that if it does need to occur.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Any other questions coming?
No. Good.
Okay. I don't hear any other question from the committee. Well, thank you, Mr. Oliver, for that update. I know you're going to keep us up to date as whatever happens out of this meeting. Probably next week sometime we should be hearing some information from you. So we appreciate that, and thank you for the update again.
Yes, Chair.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Chair, is it all right that we publish at this time? I can pass it to Mary Esther. This is the letter that we were handed, and that way she can hand it to the media. This is the letter that
Our PIO will be handing it to the media.
all right, okay,
Yeah,
great.
that
I just
should
want to
be
make
out.
certain that you all have this, because this is the letter that does guarantee in writing that our financial obligation has been met here at the MPO, regardless of what decisions are made. And I think that's what one of the main concerns were. So I just want to make sure that everybody gets a copy of this letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And Valenta, thank you for supplying that letter, because that was a direct request, and that was something that everyone was very
Yes.
adamant about seeing it in writing, so we appreciate that.
Yeah. So just to be clear, it's nothing new on the support side. This is what we've been saying all along. What's new is that it's in writing for us, here
Right.
for the MPO and the elected officials to
Right.
have in hand.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and go into item 5B, performance updates. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, that was the Metropolitan Planning Organization of Corpus Christi getting an update this afternoon from TxDOT regarding the status of the new Harbor Bridge project, and you heard it as we did for the first time. And TxDOT saying that they are sensing a new direction and a new tone from Flatiron Dragados and their parent company ACS in terms of some of the safety deficiencies and some of the solutions that they were looking for before they would proceed with work on the Harbor Bridge. One of the things that they did mention is that the notice of default remains in place, even though we are at the end of that 15 days that they initially gave Flatiron Dragados to address these design deficiencies. They said the notice remains in place. However, they feel positive about the conversations, and they feel positive about some of the solutions that are being offered now. And even though the issue is not resolved, they are looking to put some of those things in writing and to get it formally resolved. And that's what they'll be looking to do over the next few weeks. Also, something important to note here is that TxDOT mentioned that they are working to have Plan B in place. If for some reason they cannot come to a satisfactory agreement with Flatiron Dragados, the developer, then they are already looking at other ways, but they emphasized the important thing here is to know that they are moving ahead with this project in as safe a manner as possible. And of course, that's what you hear from city and county leaders and our state representatives. That is what is paramount here. Now, we're going to put all this together, and we'll wrap it up for you coming up tonight on 3 News at 5, 6, and 10. We hope you'll join us for our coverage there. And as I said, we have a reporter there, and we'll be asking some questions after the MPO meeting and try to get some clarity on a few other things. But for now, Flatiron Dragados and TxDOT continue to move forward together on the Harbor Bridge project, and they continue to work to make sure that the work can be completed in as safe a manner as possible. And we do hope that you'll stay with us on all of our social media and online platforms. And again, we'll see you tonight for an update on 3 News at 5.